Fear will never be extinct. Welcome to I Hope You Suffer. Couldn't even get through it.
That's the best one yet. That's a perfect tagline wasted on a dumb direct-to-DVD film.
This is episode 20 of I Hope You Suffer. My name is Nathan.
I'm Kit.
And this week we watched the J. Andrews, a.k.a. Jim Wynorski, directed movie Raptor from 2001.
How have we made it 20 weeks watching shit like this?
I mean, how long have you been watching shit like this before we started talking about it?
Only 29 years.
This movie is amazing.
Oh my god.
Solid 10 out of 10. Watch this immediately.
It's legit super fun because it's just so absurd. And
like legitimately some of the worst acting I think I've seen since Nudist Colony. Like no.
When Eric Roberts is your like top star, that's not a good sign.
Yeah, when it's Eric Roberts as the hero and Corbin Burnson as the villain, basically playing.
Getting Corbin Burnson's in the film, like he'd pop up on screen, and every time I was like, "Oh, Corbin Burnson's in this," and then he'd vanish, and I'd forget.
Corbin Burnson is playing Samuel L. Jackson in this movie. With his
that's not inaccurate.
Knockoff Kangol and fucking blue jumpsuit as a fucking scientist. Yeah, so this movie was directed by Jim Wynorski of Chopping Mall fame, but under the name J. Andrews. I am not sure why.
A really good pseudonym.
Yeah. It was written by Jim Wynorski and Francis Duell and Michael B. Drucksmann.
That's amazing.
Yeah, I think all of them.
Didn't want their name attached to this.
All of them are just Jim Wynorski, I'm pretty sure. It stars Eric Roberts as our main character, Sheriff Tanner, who has 522 acting credits.
That's insane.
Most importantly, the Ja Rule video for Down Ass Chick.
What?
That was the only one I wrote down because I was like, yep, that's all that matters.
That's the only one you need.
Corbin Burnson as Dr. Hyde, who I forgot was in the both Dentist movies.
Oh, hell yeah. That's all I know Corbin Burnson from.
After a couple weeks of no Seinfeld connections, we finally got Corbin Burnson as from the Trip episodes of Seinfeld, where they go to California to find Kramer.
Finally.
Yes.
I've been waiting so long for another Seinfeld connection.
I have, like, the last 2 or 3 movies, I've looked through everything. Like, cameramen, everything, trying to find a Seinfeld connection and couldn't find anything.
This one, you don't even need to dig deep.
Yeah.
Corbin Burnson was just himself on that episode.
I knew there was no way him or Eric Roberts weren't in Seinfeld at some point. And then pretty much the only other person in this movie that's even worth mentioning is Melissa Brazelli as Barbara, who was in Camel Spider and Tales from the Crypt.
The whole movie, I was trying to figure out why she looked so familiar, and then it dawned on me that she is in The Curse of the Komodo, which is a dumb shit movie that I watched like 4 days ago.
I was losing my mind every time she would show up to like. She's an animal control person, but is also like investigating this fucking just like crime scenes in this movie. but is also wearing like a midriff or like crop top the entire time. This is fucking making me laugh. This movie, not surprisingly, was produced by Roger Corman.
Yeah, that explains a lot.
And going into it, basically, you need to realize that about at least 40% of this movie is just footage taken from the Carnosaur trilogy.
If you've seen any Carnosaur movie, you've basically seen this film.
Basically, anything that doesn't have like Eric Roberts or Corbin Burnson in it was pretty much taken from that movie.
Lifted straight from it.
Even the score is credited to James Horner, but every single piece of music in this is a James Horner song, like score taken from another movie. Like none of it was written for this movie, and like it's awesome because like numerous times during like the same scenes, like the backgrounds and shit and like scenery will change because it's just shit taken from other movies.
I wish they had been super bold and like lifted some shit from Star Wars. Like the whole Star Wars theme is playing
the
whenever
entire opening crawl.
Yeah.
In a galaxy far, far away, raptors are brought back. This movie rules for the sole fact that within like 45 seconds or something, like the first person is killed.
Just immediately leaps into horrific violence, and it rules.
By what I can only describe is a hand puppet of a raptor.
It looks like a Jim Henson like Muppet.
It looks like what I assumed the first pass of a Jim Henson Muppet would look like if they're like, make a raptor. And he just cobbled one together as like a screen test.
It's not intimidating.
No. It like... Have you ever seen any of the Homestar Runner videos where it's like the puppets instead of the animation?
Yes.
It kind of like... It just looks like that to me. Just not made of felt. So this movie opens with a bunch of kids like off-roading in a Jeep that are like drinking and being completely reckless and like terrible. And they pull over and one kid goes to piss and immediately is eaten by a raptor. And then the other kids in the Jeep are eaten by a raptor. And this is about, again, 45 seconds into the movie. You also get the very cool raptor vision of just green.
And it cuts to a super sweet shot of this raptor that's like maybe 1.5 feet, 2 feet tall, like standing on some kind of plateau, like at sunset. So you just see the shadowy outline, and it lets out a roar. It's like, what? What the fuck?
Oh, the raptors of this movie are great.
This is not a Jurassic Park raptor. This is a hand puppet.
I wasn't sure if this one at the beginning was supposed to be like a baby, because it's like so much smaller than the ones you see later.
Yeah, its size changed a lot throughout the film, I feel like. Like, there are some scenes where it's like, you know, a 6 foot tall raptor, and then others where, like in this opening, it's a little tiny baby raptor that's the size of someone's stomach. And
because it's
just all over the place.
There's only one that's escaped, right? Like all of the rest of them, yes, all the rest are like when they get to the facility or whatever. So after this first like minute and a half or whatever, it's like the credits, and you cut to Eric Roberts as Sheriff Jim Tanner, and the first thing you know about him is he can't pay his bills and his power is getting shut off.
Hard out there for a sheriff.
Which I'm assuming if he lives in a house anything like Barbara in this movie, he lives in a fucking mansion, and that's why he can't afford it on a sheriff's salary.
There's a really fantastic bit where he's talking to the lady on the phone, and she's like, you can have a couple days, but if we don't get it by tomorrow, then, you know, we're going to have to cut your power off. And he's like, wait, are you kidding me? like just like that.
Yeah.
And she's like, "There's no reason for you to raise your voice to me, sir." Like what? He says it in the most like calm, polite manner.
She is like the bitchiest like phone service person I think I've ever seen. Like she's just like not fucking having any of it.
I feel like she is someone who doesn't normally work phones, and like someone called out sick, and she's super pissed that she has to be on phones because she hates being on phones.
She was definitely like the supervisor that had to cover like a missing shift.
I'm that person skipping out on work.
Calm down.
Paul's real mad. Did you put Paul on phones?
Yeah.
You don't have to take that, Paul. Don't answer the phone.
Paul does a customer service job, like phone calls. On it, like that's his job, and he doesn't like people talking shit about it. So, after you find out that he's getting his power shut off, and he's like driving to investigate like the death of these kids at the beginning of the movie, one of the things that is extremely noticeable is that in the beginning the Jeep they're driving has like those plastic windows for like the like the top over it, but then in this scene it's all glass. Like there's like no continuity in anything in this movie.
I don't really expect there to be, but still it gets really egregious. They're just like, yeah, just fucking whatever, who cares?
It's like
they figure that like 10 people are going to watch Raptor, and none of them are going to give a shit. They're all going to be super drunk or stoned.
It like this whole movie looked like it was shot by the crew of like a softcore porn, and like because we'll get to some of it. Like it's fucking just like the places they shoot in it, like the clothing, like everything just looks like they were just like, I don't know, just wear whatever you have at home, because Eric Roberts is wearing like mom jeans.
He first shows up in jeans. He's wearing his sheriff like top, but he's just in jeans.
Yeah, and like Barbara shows up here to like, I don't know, whatever they assume it's some kind of animal mauling. I think he says he mentions it's maybe a cougar, but she shows up and she's just like in jeans and a fucking like crop top and like just like basically that's it. And like I feel like that's probably not how you're supposed to show up as some sort of at a crime scene.
Not crime scene appropriate attire.
I like it's a lot.
Have some respect for the eviscerated, please.
Yeah, no shit. People were dead. Cover your fucking belly button.
Unbelievable. Wear some nice jeans, Eric Roberts.
Yeah. I don't even think you're supposed to like wear jeans, the sheriff.
I wouldn't want to wear jeans to work. I've worn jeans to work, and it sucks to work in jeans.
Yeah.
Investigating raptor murders in jeans? Pass. I'm trying to wash blood out of my jeans. I don't want that.
It's also like it looks goofy as shit because like his belt with all of his like his gun and his fucking walkie-talkie and shit are just riding so low that like it's like basically at like dick level. So like the top of his jeans is like a good like 3 inches above where his belt's at. All the clothes in this movie are horrendous. Corbin Burnson
probably couldn't afford a fashion department.
Like Corbin Burnson again is just wearing like a knockoff Kangol, like a weird blue kind of jumpsuit thing over a turtleneck, and it's supposed to be like a scientist that's just like, I guess, cloning dinosaurs. None of it is necessarily explained whatsoever. Or it is, and I just blocked it all out.
How do you clone dinosaurs that don't exist?
I don't know. I assume
I'm sure they covered it, and I was just like, whatever.
I think they did exist, and they just fell off the flat part of the Earth.
That's probably what it was.
Yeah.
They're all on the underside of the Earth.
We're going to lose all of our listeners. They're going to think we're real flat earthers.
Flat Earth Theory podcast.
So Barbara showed up and is just like saying a bunch of shit, which is pretty much the MO of this movie is people just saying a bunch of stuff that just doesn't matter. They're talking about this animal attack. Eric Roberts thinks it's a cougar. She doesn't. You cut to the science lab that I never got the name of, where Dr. Hyde is angry about this raptor getting loose, and the set decoration, or wherever they shot in this science lab, is amazing. It's just like... It's like when you see footage of computers from, like, the 1960s, and it's just all it is in the background. It's pretty well done.
It's like a stack of amplifiers, but just computers.
Yeah, it's like they had a bunch of amplifiers that they just, like, put glowing dots on. After Dr. Hyde gets done yelling about his dinosaur getting loose, you cut to a guy driving some chickens, I guess, to a chicken killing plant.
Fun trivia fact, one of only 3 on IMDb, that Purex poultry truck is a Mitsubishi Fuso.
Oh, yeah.
That's all the trivia we've got, guys. This is...
for you car truck fans out there.
2 of 4 people found that interesting on IMDb, which blows my mind.
Those are the saddest people on the planet.
I was wondering what kind of car that was. I thought it was a Mitsubishi.
It looks like a Mitsubishi. I better check IMDb. While this dude's driving these chickens, he hears some kind of noise and pulls over to check it out. And a raptor eats him. And all of the chickens.
There's one shot that they get a shitload of use out of in this film, and it is slamming someone's bloodied face and hand against a window.
Yeah, because that happens at, like, the very beginning, even though
it happens here, and I think it happens at least one other time towards the tail end.
Well, it happens here, and then it happens in the scene coming up where Eric Roberts' daughter gets attacked. I'm pretty sure that happens there too, but
it's a pretty good shot.
You get more raptor vision here, which is always good. I wish the entire
always
movie
down
looked
for
like
raptor
that.
Vision. I need insight into how animals see when they murder.
They all pretty much just look like squiggly line alien vision from Alien Covenant.
I don't have any idea how these creatures hunt with any kind of efficiency. Looking at all these squiggly lines all the time.
The only one that would even make sense is, like, the Predator, because he could see, like, the heat vision or whatever.
Yeah.
Everything else is just, like, every other animal is just like, oh, well, this animal sees in, like, purple, I guess.
It's really blurry and blue.
So, this chicken driver gets eaten, and a cop shows up, like, pulls over seeing this truck just sitting there, calls Eric Roberts, and Eric Roberts is like, alright, well, I'm on my way, like, I'll be there in a minute or whatever, and after he gets done talking to Eric Roberts, he gets eaten by a raptor, or the same raptor, and then you immediately cut to boobs, and Eric Roberts' daughter just, like, fucking some dude in the back of his truck on the pumpkin headset. the entire background of this scene is just, like, the woods, but it's all blue, and it's just fog everywhere. Just made me assume it was Pumpkinhead's gonna show up.
They're in the witch's cabin.
I'm gonna add that to the trivia of IMDb and be like, takes same place, same universe as Pumpkinhead.
Yeah, shared universe film.
Then Jim Wynorski's gonna make a Pumpkinhead versus Raptors movie.
He'd probably get super pissed at you. Unbelievable! Pumpkinhead's trash.
He gets pissed at pretty much everybody that talks about his movies. It seems like. I'm waiting for him to come after us at some point. Eventually, we're gonna do like a movie he did recently, and he's still like looking for, has like Google searches for, and He can come on
We're
our
coming for you,
podcast.
Jim.
If he comes on our podcast, we'll do Arkansas Women's Prison Massacre. That's the only way we're going to do it.
Oh, he's got a Cobra Gator coming up.
Oh, God. I assume it's going to look exact. It's just going to be like all footage taken from this movie. And then a Cobra Gator thrown in periodically. It won't even be like starring Eric Roberts, but he'll just be in it.
It's got Michael Madsen.
Oh, God. Of course it does.
All right. In February, we're going to be doing Cobra Gator. Sneak peek.
When does it come out?
February 25th.
I assume that's a sci-fi movie.
It has to be. They're the only place that jams these dumb goddamn animals together.
How many movies does he have in pre-production right now? Or like, aren't released, but it says like pre or post-production? Is it just that?
None, actually. This is his first thing he's done since 2017.
Oh, really?
Somehow. Yeah.
There was like, Eric Roberts had like 30 movies and like some sort of production at the moment of his 522 credits. Yeah, so this couple gets interrupted by a Raptor while they're trying to fuck in the back of this pickup truck.
Hate it when that happens.
We don't know what kind of truck it is because it wasn't on IMDb.
Not a Mitsubishi Fuso.
She makes it back into the truck, and her boyfriend is eaten by the Raptor, smashed into the windshield. She goes to drive off, and the Raptor is on the hood of the truck, trying to like break through the front window. She jumps out of the truck, and the truck just keeps driving and plunges off a bridge into water, even though they're literally in the woods.
Never seen the ocean pop up in the woods before?
It just cuts to like what looks like a river, like right next to, a city that just like plunges into this river that's obviously stolen from some other movie.
Jaws.
Yes. There's like an Amityville sign in the background. Barbara and Eric Roberts show up at the chicken truck, and Eric Roberts is immediately just like rifling through everything with no gloves on, which seems like good police work.
It's Casual Friday, alright? He's got jeans, button gloves.
The whole movie just takes place on Casual Friday. That's why everybody's dressed like this. And while they're there, he gets a call over his radio about his daughter in the hospital, and they both just immediately abandon the crime scene. Don't call for backup or anything. You cut to the hospital that is definitely shot in somebody's house. Like, there's like...
His daughter's in hospice care.
As soon as this scene came up, I was looking at the background, and I'm like, this is either somebody's hotel room or somebody's house. Because there's just like...
It's just is it one of the, like, crew members' hotel room?
I would almost bet you money it's shot in the same house that they show, like, Barbara in later, like the fucking mansion she lives in.
Oh, probably.
Yeah, it's gotta be. But, like, there's, like, a fancy, like, lamp coming out of the wall. There's just, like, 10 doors. It's all carpeted.
It's not every day you see a hospital with a sconce.
Yeah. Nice crown molding everywhere. It's the whole scene is real awkward too. Like Eric Roberts in this scene is creepy, and then the girl that plays his daughter is maybe the worst actor I've seen in my life. But she is apparently catatonic because of seeing a raptor and getting attacked by it, and like can't respond to anything. Eric Roberts is constantly like, whispering in her fucking ear and being weird. After this scene, it cuts to Barbara getting picked up by Eric Roberts to go check out the science facility and outside of her fucking mansion, and she's wearing another crop top or some shit. Which is, again, what you wear to go investigate crimes.
She's going undercover, Nathan, alright?
Like, I can only assume that based on the stuff I've seen of Jim Wynorski and then, like, the movies he's directed, is he just wanted as much skin from her as possible in this movie.
100%.
Like, he was just like, oh, her midriff is real sexy. We better just show that off the entire movie. Instead,
I mean, he has a film called Sexapede.
Oh, I mean, he did all the Bear Wench movies as well. Sexapede.
Busty co-eds versus lusty cheerleaders.
God, I would have watched all of them. I mean, I don't know why Eric Roberts wasn't wearing a fucking crop top this whole movie. That would have been better.
I wish Eric Roberts had been in the crop top. I was going to say, that would be so much better.
At least throw him in some fucking super tight jeans instead of these fucking bulky mom jeans he's wearing.
Toss him in some leggings.
Yeah. Get in those fucking skeleton leggings.
Yeah, I'm wearing them right now, I'm not gonna lie.
I mean, I don't know why you wouldn't be wearing them every day.
Warehouse at work is fucking freezing, so I've been wearing them under my work pants.
It's a whole
and it's been life-changing.
Whole 50 degrees in the warehouse, so you're cold. When, like, right now, it's like -3 here.
Oh, fuck that.
Yeah, when I was driving home from work this morning, it was -1, and I wanted to die.
30. I'm like, nope, I'm dead.
Oh, man.
This is the me.
It rained, immediately froze over, and then snowed and froze over that, and then dropped down to, like, -degrees, so everything here is just fucking terrible.
Wherever you are, listeners, I hope it's warmer than that.
Yeah. Which, just don't be in Ohio. For any reason ever. So you cut to this science facility, and they just like won't, or you get a bunch of dialogue from Corbin Burnson and some dude named Lyle that works for him, and they're talking about how they're trying to like clone dinosaurs that they can like train to work with humans or some shit.
Way ahead of Jurassic World.
I mean,
Jurassic World lifted their plot from Raptor.
I'm calling you guys out, Jurassic World. What the fuck, Chris Pratt?
Fight me.
All this movie was missing was Corbin Burnson trying to, like, fucking do that hand thing and, like, stop the raptors.
Tame them.
Yeah. But, old Lyle doesn't like what they're doing, so he wants to quit. And Dr. Hyde, Corbin Burnson, is just like, that's fine, but before you quit, since we're training this T-Rex we have, can you, walk by it? We want to see how it reacts to somebody it's never seen before. And Lyle's like, okay.
The most obvious goddamn trap of all time.
I
don't want you to quit, but, it's fine, but walk in front of this large T-Rex we have hidden in underground facilities surrounded by lasers one last time, please.
You also get the absolute genius plot point of the fact that these dinosaurs are being held in place by lasers. Because, of course, they are. Eric Roberts and Barbara show up at the science facility, and the security guy won't let them in.
Boom. Good at his job.
Yeah, he's the
security guy.
Only person in this movie
killing it.
Halfway decent at his job.
I don't know, they're pretty good at cloning the dinosaurs.
Yeah, I guess that's true. The Lyle, for like a solid 5 minutes, is walking very slowly through this like hallway that leads to the T-Rex. And as he gets there, you get this amazing shot of this T-Rex just like roaring with like a laser light show going on behind him. Fucking Rush starts playing. As Lyle gets closer, he like trips or some shit, or like gets scared and falls, and his hand gets cut off by one of the lasers, and then he gets eaten by the T-Rex. This is R.I.P. Lyle. You cut back to the hospital, and Barbara had like recorded some fucking like some roar they heard earlier in the movie on a little tape recorder, and plays it for the catatonic daughter of Eric Roberts, who then wakes up and immediately starts like freaking out about the raptor, And this is the scene that I was just like, she is the absolute worst actor I've ever seen. Like, everybody in Nudist Colony, I would put above her at this point. She's just fucking the worst. This is when I noticed that I wrote down, was Barbara wearing a crop top this whole time? Because this is when I think I started paying attention, and I was like, oh, she's just like, her midriff has been showing like this entire movie. I guess you're supposed to, I guess Eric Roberts and Barbara were like a couple at some point.
Were they?
I don't know. They're like real flirty at a certain, like before this, and then they kiss, and he like creepily tells her she has soft lips.
Oh yeah, and then he like goes off on his own, and he's like, "Thanks for the memories," and I was like, "What?
Yeah,
y'all have been hanging out for like 3 hours. What?"
It's real weird. But then you get a scene of her getting ready to get in the shower and stripping down to her underwear, and right before that bra comes off, she hears a roar in her house. And you're like, oh fuck, there's a raptor in this house, and nope, it's just her dog. But you get a good like minute or so of her wandering around her house in her bra and panties. Because it's a Jim Wynorski movie, so I'm surprised she was not topless.
I was super surprised knowing it's Jim Wynorski directing.
I'm betting money she refused. You get some scenes of Eric Roberts like staking out this science facility, and kind of just this like at this point, this is when the movie I lost interest the entire like middle half of it. And I started, like, pausing it periodically to see how much time I had left. And, like, almost every time it was, like, 45 minutes. And I was like, fuck.
This movie's a time paradox. What the hell?
It was, like, a solid 30 minutes in the middle. That is just the 45-minute mark of the movie somehow. You get this, like, a real weird scene of, like, this other officer that just shows up in like an alley that was 100% like just like the streets of New York, but like what like Married with Children would have used as a set to show the streets of New York.
It's one of those like indoor soundstage that they try and make look outdoors on a TV show.
Yeah, and they just film it like all in the dark, and there's just like more fog, and this guy just like shows like there's this weird fucking like not even like a B plot, but this weird like side story of like there's apparently some criminal that escaped, and like they talk about it a couple times, and then you have this scene, and then it's just never brought up again. But
yeah, that's the end of it.
Yeah, this officer just like shows up, immediately gets out of his car, and just starts screaming for whoever this like criminal was to come out, which it's
a proven effective method.
Yeah,
if you call a criminal's name, they have to show themselves. It's the law.
It's just like the criminal code.
Yeah, like, damn, he got me.
He's just running around and it's just screaming for some reason, and he comes across a pet store that has been like broken into and like just completely ravaged. And as he's looking at it, like, he turns around and sees the raptor and immediately shoots it with a shotgun. And I guess kills it. Because you never hear about this raptor being found ever in this. This raptor that's, like, breaks loose or whatever is never heard from or heard about again. But...
well, it's not totally dead.
Well, no, yeah. He, like, shoots it, and... as like this cop, like, good.
He's like stepping over it to like check it out, and he's like getting ready to like shoot it in the face. He's standing over like its neck, so it does the weirdest like leg bend in the most unnatural way, and kicks up through this dude's chest.
It's real fucking weird because like when it first happened, I thought it like kicked him in the dick, because the way they shot it, that's what it looked like.
It looked like it.
And I was like, that
I was
fucking
like,
rules.
damn.
But then, like, yeah, it's like, it's supposed to look like it, like, clawed him, like,
Through the gut.
yeah, but, like, from the back, I guess.
Yeah.
But,
Since he was standing over it, and, you know, raptors have weird, like, cat legs. But it still makes no sense. Trying to work out the anatomy of that scene in my brain does not work.
yeah, it did not make any sense to me either.
But it looked fucking cool.
You also get the scene after this where, like, they're at, like, I guess the morgue, even though it just looks like an office. Where, like, Barbara and Eric Roberts are there, and Barbara's, like, looking at the dead body of this cop and pulls out what she says is a tooth, but I'm like 9,000% positive was the claw from this fucking raptor.
Claws, teeth, they're all pretty similar.
She is the worst animal control person. Why is there even an animal control person this entire time? Like, it drove me fucking crazy.
Surely today's animal control experts would be able to tackle a velociraptor and know all about it, right?
I can't even imagine that if any crime happened in the real world, like, I understand if somebody got, like, mauled and they're just like, oh, well, you know, we'll call animal control to, like, kind of scope out the scene. They would not be following this cop around everywhere they went. And
they deleted the scene where she requested a ride along.
Yeah, like I'm sure, like, a real world police officer is not bringing animal control along to the hospital room with his daughter there, or, like, his daughter being in the hospital. So they find this fucking claw/tooth, and they kind of, like, I guess, put together that something's extra fishy is going on at this science facility, and
Something's afoot.
Eric Roberts' plan is that he's going to go in, and he calls the electric company, and somehow gets the exact same person he was arguing with at the beginning of the movie.
That lady called in sick all week.
Yeah. And she's apparently the only one working now. But he's just like, hey, I need you to shut off the power at 3 o'clock to this science lab. And she's just like, okay, cool. Because that's how electric companies work.
All he said was, it's official business. And she's like, well, I'm going to need paperwork. And he's like, yeah, I'll get it to you. And she's like, okay. And then just agrees to shut it off without him ever, like, sending it.
I'm going to try that.
You're right. Everyone in this movie does suck at their job.
Be like, I need this Walmart's power shut off at 8 p.m.
It's official business.
Yeah, it's podcast business. I'll fax you over some paperwork later. Cool, I'll do it.
Thanks.
Eric Roberts shows up at the science lab facility place with Barbara. There's just a bunch of fucking dumb dialogue with Eric Roberts, Corbin Burnson, and Barbara. Just like kind of about what they do there, I guess. I don't know, I blacked out. It just, none of it was important to anything. Corbin Burnson's, like, taking them on a tour of the facility with, like, security following, like, 5 steps behind them, but they for some reason don't realize it, and they're all carrying, like, shotguns.
Totally not suspicious.
Yep.
Extremely normal.
Barbara, being absolutely terrible at her job, immediately calls out Corbin Burnson about having dinosaurs there. And Corbin Burnson pulls a gun on her in, like, the weirdest way I think I've ever seen.
With his butt.
Yes. That would have been fucking awesome. He's just got a gun for a butt. That's just how he shits. He just pulls the trigger.
He pulls his pants down, and his butt is just one big gun.
Jim Wynorski, make this movie.
Yeah, if you're not mad at us by the end of this podcast episode, please make this film.
He like pulls the gun out, but he's holding it like very flimsily, but like and also like close to his body. It's real weird. Like he almost looks like the dude from The Evil Within when he's holding the knife. It's real awkward.
It's like when you're playing Metal Gear Solid and like you press up against the wall and Snake holds the gun like right up to his chest but still points it outward so he can shoot.
It's pretty much exactly what it looked like. This is when I wrote down that I think Corbin Burnson was playing Samuel L. Jackson in this movie. Corbin Burnson, like, basically, like, kidnaps them and locks them in a room that is just, like, a big steel door that leads into a hallway that is blocked off with a fence. Like,
no lasers.
A chain link fence.
This is a facility filled with lasers, and they can't make their brig have lasers. Unbelievable.
He's the absolute worst Bond villain.
He is.
I think this is when you get a bunch of shit with, like, I guess the FBI has been kind of, like, keeping tabs on this dude, like Corbin Burnson's character. And they mentioned that, like they were working with him at some point on a thing called Jurassic Storm. Which
I was gonna ask if you remember the name of the like experiment. Oh, it's so good.
It is a shame this movie was not called Jurassic Storm.
Oh, no, Jurassic Storm needs to be saved for a better film.
This should be the sequel. The T-Rex should have just made it out, and then just somehow Jurassic Park, where they just can like procreate with themselves, and just like T-Rex is just loose everywhere. There's just like a bunch of shit with like the FBI and the military, and they just decide they're going to start coming after Corbin Burnson. I don't remember what the context of this quote was, but it was one of like, I think it's like two of the military like people, like two people in this military group are like arguing with each other, and one guy goes, "Another pissing contest again," and the other guy goes, "Yeah, and we're always downwind." I also wrote down that we spend entirely too much time with these military people.
Yes.
Like
any amount of time is far too much time with them.
There is a solid 15 minutes where like I just forgot like Eric Roberts was in this movie because he's just not there. The military shows up at the science facility and starts like invading it. All of the power gets shut off, and Eric Roberts and Barbara are able to escape because I guess the power being shut off makes it so they can open this giant steel door. But that also means the lasers are now shut off. All the dinosaurs are loose.
My God. Who could have seen it coming?
There's like, I'm guessing, there's like a T-Rex and like 4 raptors maybe.
It's confusing because they always refer to the raptors as baby T-Rexes. So yeah. I don't fucking know. I don't know if they're just baby T-Rexes and the name of the movie's dumb, or if this scientist who's cloning dinosaurs is dumb. That'd be really impressive if he didn't even know what he was cloning.
I'm assuming this is all just taking place in a world where, like, this is taking place in, like, 2025 when we just outlawed schools. So they just don't.
All dinosaurs are raptors.
All schools and hockey have been outlawed, and
which is sad because now we can't see raptors playing hockey.
Yeah. Oh my God, that'd be awesome. Jim Wynorski, make that movie too.
They're cloning them so they can train them to play hockey.
Hockey sores.
Jurassic Ice Storm.
When the power goes out, one of the military people goes, "Sir, when they called it dark ops, they weren't kidding."
God damn it. I changed my mind. Fuck this movie.
Oh, I laughed so hard. This is the fucking worst line. So the Raptors start attacking these military people and just kill a bunch of them, and the military kills like at least 2 of the Raptors by just firing 8,000 bullets at them. For some reason, Eric Roberts tells Barbara to just like stay in this hallway, and he's gonna go do something, and just like fucks off for a couple minutes. And I'm like, that's a good idea. Just leave her by herself. One of the military guys goes and turns on like a backup generator, and you get a quick scene of Karen, who was, I guess, Corbin Burnson's assistant, like, gets mad that she's like, all she wanted to do was just, I don't know, like, make dinosaurs, but Corbin Burnson is just like willingly letting all these people die, and she doesn't want to have any part of it, and she quits. And she leaves and goes to get in an elevator, and is immediately pulled through the top of the elevator by a raptor. And it like immediately bites off her arm and like disembowels her. It's pretty sweet. But also, like, the top of this elevator just looks like a fucking boiler room for some reason. As like everything in this like whole second half of the movie, everything in this like science facility that takes like it all takes place in
It's just one big boiler room.
Yeah. Have you seen Rob Zombie's 31?
I thought you were gonna ask if I had seen Boiler Room.
No. I'm talking about a good movie here, Kit.
Jesus. I made it 20 minutes into 31, and then I fucking threw myself out of a window.
I sat through
I
the
was
whole
so
thing
mad at myself.
somehow.
Why? Why do you hate yourself, Nathan?
I don't know. It like I'd heard it was like so terrible that like
Oh my god.
I was like I gotta just fucking watch the whole thing. Which is ironic. Ironically, the one movie that a lot of people seem to be like, oh, this one's actually pretty good, which is like Lords of Salem, is the only one I have not watched. I assume it's probably terrible too. Devil's Rejects is like the only watchable one at this point.
Yeah, I'd agree with that. And I feel like if I rewatched it, I'd still be like,
I mean, I watched it maybe like a year ago, and it's like, it's not the best, but it's like, it's at least like real dark and not like goofy as shit like the rest of his movies. But like, almost all of 31 takes place in just what looks like a boiler room. Just like shot from like as many different angles as you can get. And that's just what like this whole like end of this movie reminded me of. I just was waiting for Sherry Moon Zombie to show up and act terribly.
That little person who's a Nazi.
Who was like the only good actor in that movie.
He showed up, and that's when I turned it off. I was like, okay, well, this is fucking stupid. And
he's like so overacting that I was kind of like, all right, I respect this. This dude's fucking like Nick Caging this movie, and I'm in. Everybody else is just god awful in that movie. That's a movie that like we need to get a guest and just force them to sit through it and then make them explain it to us on the podcast. So the military is still just kind of like wandering around and being fucking terrible. And you cut to this like weird scene of the lady in the helicopter that's like brought them there is like leaving for some reason that I did not catch. And as she's going to leave, there's a raptor somehow in the back of the helicopter that attacks her. And there's the security guy is outside like waving at her. And as she gets attacked, the helicopter crashes on top of him. It is pretty fucking dope.
Some really great effects work on that one.
Oh, that, and then there's a scene coming up that has one of my favorite effects I've ever seen in a movie.
Oh, I can't wait.
So they now have like, for some reason, even though it's not like they're fucking like surrounded by water, but they're just like, oh, how the fuck are we gonna get out of here? Our helicopter's gone. They call for like a emergency evac. at this point, Eric Roberts and Barbara have come across the military group who are now setting like C4 explosives all over the building. Corbin Burnson like pistol whips and kidnaps some fucking evac guy and takes his clothes. The military stumbles across like a bunch of dinosaur eggs, and one dude's like, "Oh, breakfast?" And then they just like open fire wildly on all of these eggs. You get like a weird scene of like where at this point everybody is like fleeing the facility, and the T-Rex, who I think this is the first time I even like recognized that it was a T-Rex, because like I remember
it finally steps out so you can get a sense of scale.
Well, yeah, like I remember them mentioning it earlier in the movie, and then I just was like, oh, these are all just like raptors. But then you get this scene of this T-Rex headbutting a wall to escape the facility.
As one does.
Yes. As they're all like running, coming in like a little bit behind them is Corbin Burnson dressed in this evac crew outfit, who gets attacked and eaten by the T-Rex in my favorite special effect ever of this fucking limp body falling apart as it's being like flipped
flung about.
It's so awesome.
They go with it for a while too.
Oh, it's so good. Like there's like you get a scene like his arm just falls and like hits the ground and shit. It's awesome. I suggest if you're not gonna watch this movie, just like queue it up and go to like, I don't know, an hour in, because it's only like an hour and 21 minutes, and just watch the last 20 minutes, because that scene rules. And then this scene where Eric Roberts decides that he's going to push this T-Rex back into the building before it explodes. He gets into like a front loader, like power equipment thing, like the thing they use to like pick up like dirt and dump into a hole, like you'll see construction crews using. That's just like a one-person thing, but it periodically also, it's like it shows him fighting this T-Rex in this thing, and it shows him in that, and then every time it cuts to like a shot of the T-Rex, it's like a giant boom lift forklift that you would use to put like on like a pallet with like an air conditioner on top of a fucking like warehouse building. So it just cuts like back and forth between this tiny ass piece of equipment and then this giant thing that's meant to reach like 3 stories high. It's
I'm just gonna go ahead and say it. Eric Roberts in the forklift versus the T-Rex is our generation's Ellen Ripley in the Power Loader versus the Xenomorph Queen.
There is no chance that's not what they're trying to pull off.
It's so blatant and just so much worse.
I will say that right before he gets into it, Eric Roberts puts on giant Reebok shoes.
He's ready. He's pumping them up. They're the ones with the little like pump tongues.
Barbara's holding a cat named Jonesy. Well, Jonesy died at the beginning of Aliens, doesn't it? Or is Jonesy around in Aliens?
I think he's around in Aliens.
I can't remember. I think, yeah, cause I guess maybe...
I think he died off with everyone else in Alien 3.
3, yeah. For some reason, I was thinking that, like, they did the same thing. Like, does somebody die off at the beginning of Aliens? That, like, just have, like, same way they do in Aliens 3, where they're just like, oh, you came to, like, love this Newt character. Well, guess what? She's dead. I feel like there was something with Alien to Aliens as well, but... No,
it was just
never mind.
Her and the cat. Alien to Alien.
I'm thinking Prometheus to Covenant.
Oh, okay.
Where you're just like, oh, Numi is dead. LOL. This character you spent all of Prometheus being like, hey, I hope she gets out, and she died in between movies. Spoiler for Alien Covenant. So yeah, he's using this fucking ridiculously confusing equipment to push this T-Rex back in the building. It falls and like it's just laying on the ground like dying, which legitimately, like, I was like, I feel bad for this T-Rex. It was just trying to live its life, and then they just fucking blow it up in this building.
It finally got free.
Yeah.
It lived its whole life surrounded by laser beams.
Oh, God. So, it's... The ending of this movie fucking made me laugh, too, because it's like the building explodes. You immediately cut back to Eric Roberts and Barbara standing there, and he just goes, wow. Credits. It literally just fucking ends.
I was like, there's no way it's going to end on that, and it, like, pulls back and shows the facility burning, and then that's it.
I was like, oh, they'll cut, it'll, like, fade to black, and it'll show, like, I don't know, him
6
and his
months later.
daughter or some shit. Like, nope, it just fucking ends. It's pretty awesome. So, yeah, that was, this ridiculous movie.
That was a film.
Quote unquote. I didn't really grab any news. There was only like 2 things I really saw that even like caught my interest, and one of them was Dario Argento talking about how he didn't like the new Suspiria. Which,
yeah,
I mean, I'm not surprised.
I feel like if you've got Dario Argento upset about your version of Suspiria, you probably did it right.
I think he basically said that he was like, I think the director did a good job, and like there's something else he gave it a compliment, but he was like, it just did not have the spirit of the original or whatever, which I can't comment on because I haven't watched it yet. But
he took a weird dig at like Tom York by saying like the movie has no music.
Oh yeah, which is pretty awesome. I don't know. I've seen a lot of people like praise the soundtrack to it, but it's not Goblin, so I don't care.
Yeah, pretty much.
The only other thing that wasn't even necessarily, it was like tangentially like horror related, but they had released like that Spider-Man Far From Home trailer with like Mysterio in it, and I guess the story came out that like in like Sam Raimi's 4th Spider-Man that Bruce Campbell was going to play Mysterio, which made me insanely angry that didn't happen.
Yeah,
like I guess like somebody had done like I can't think of the name of them, like production art stuff of like what some of the scenes
like
would look
pre-production.
like, and they released one of like Mysterio being unmasked, and it's like blatantly Bruce Campbell, which would have been awesome, and John Malkovich is the Vulture, which would have also been awesome.
My only hope is that it's still Bruce Campbell as the door guy.
Oh yeah,
from movies.
He plays like 3 different characters in each of the movies, so
just give me the doorman. Doorman turned Mysterio.
It would have made sense because like Mysterio, I believe in the books was like an actor, and like a lot of his stuff is based off of like special effects or whatever. Like that's the way he like does like tricks or whatever. So that could have like worked if they would have had it been the same character as the doorman. But once Macho Man Randy Savage died, there was no reason to continue that series.
Its spirit died along with him.
Yeah. R.I.P. Macho Man and your amazing rap album.
Hulk Hogan's a chump.
Be a man, Hulk. That fucking album rules. So next week, I believe we're doing Sleepaway Camp. I still got to get with Paul to make sure it's actually happening. But we're going to have Paul from the band Twilight Fauna and Green Elder on to talk about Sleepaway Camp. It was a movie he suggested, which everybody, I'm assuming, that's listening to this has seen Sleepaway Camp. And it's streaming in 2 different places, and I'm only naming one of them because it's Shudder. And we love you, Shudder, and you should give us money.
Yeah, if you have the choice, you should watch it on Shudder over whatever else is streaming it.
Don't forget to put in the code IHYS. It won't work, but do it anyway.
It's worth a shot.
But yeah.
You get them asking questions. Why do people keep typing this in? That's the key to success.
Yeah. I'm pretty sure that's how other podcasts get sponsorships.
Absolutely. It's a war of attrition. We just got to wear them down.
But yeah, Sleepaway Camp rules. It's like a classic. It's quote unquote a bad movie, but it's also a great movie.
It rules. It is not terribly woke.
Oh no,
it rules.
I definitely suggest too that watch the Joe Bob Briggs Last Drive-In section for Sleepaway Camp, because
he's got some good commentary on it.
Yeah, and he has Felicia Rose, I think that's her name, who plays the little girl in Sleepaway Camp, and she's on it, and they kind of just discuss some just kind of like back stuff for the movie. It's pretty good. But yeah, that's it. That's on Shudder. I think that's all I got.
Yeah, I got nothing.
Yeah. All right. I hope you suffer, but why?
But why?